What if the reason your life hasn't changed yet is because you're still stopping at thinking and feeling? You think about the life you want. You visualize it. You imagine it. You try to feel it. But then you get up and go right back to being the same person. The same thoughts. The same reactions. The same habits. The same identity. And if the person never changes, why would their life change? I believe this is where most people get stuck, because thinking creates possibility. Feeling creates belief, but becoming creates transformation. And today, I'd like to share a few practical exercises that I personally use to help move from thinking and feeling to actually becoming. Most manifestation teachings focus on thinking differently. Others focus on feeling differently. Both are important, but neither one is the destination. The destination is becoming the version of yourself who naturally lives that reality. The person with abundance thinks differently, feels differently, acts differently, makes decisions differently, responds differently. The goal isn't simply to imagine that person. The goal is to become that person. Because your life changes when you begin showing up as the version of yourself you desire to be. And remember something we've talked about in previous videos. I've said before that your current reality is your old programming. The life you're experiencing today is largely the result of the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, reactions, and habits you've repeated in the past. That's why so many people become discouraged. They begin visualizing. They begin changing their thinking. They begin changing their state. But then they look at their current reality and say, nothing is changing. What they don't realize is they're still looking at yesterday's programming. They're still looking at the results of the old version of themselves. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you've heard me talk about this idea before. Your current reality is often a reflection of your past thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and habits. The exercises we're about to talk about are not about escaping your current reality. They're about creating a new one. They're helping you install new programming, a new identity, new beliefs, a new emotional state. And when that new programming becomes stronger than the old programming, your life begins reflecting it. That's why these exercises are so powerful. They are not just things you do. They are tools that help you become. So if becoming is the missing step, how do we actually do it? I'd like to share a few things that I personally do. These are simple exercises that have helped me move from just thinking about a goal to emotionally connecting with it and ultimately becoming the person capable of living it. Let's start with one of my favorites. One of my favorite exercises is writing a letter in the present tense. You can write it to God, to the infinite intelligence, to the universe, or simply to yourself. But write it as if your desired reality has already happened. Not, I hope this happens. Not, I wish this would happen. I want you to write, thank you for my beautiful new home. Thank you for the peace I feel every morning. Thank you for the abundance in my life. Thank you for the amazing people surrounding me. And these are just a few examples. Please feel free to write your own and what you want in your desired life. The physical act of writing forces you to slow down. There have been studies showing that people tend to remember, retain, and stay committed to things they physically write down. When you move a pen across paper, you're engaging more than just a passing thought. You're giving attention, intention, and emotion to what you're creating. For me, that's one of the reasons this exercise is so powerful. Whether you view it as impressing the subconscious mind, communicating with infinite intelligence, or simply creating greater focus and clarity, writing helps move the experience from an idea into something that feels more real. And while you're writing, don't just write the words. Feel them. Imagine them. Experience them. For a few minutes, step into the version of yourself who already has what you're describing. What I love about that exercise is that it helps make the future feel more real. But there is another exercise that takes it a step further. Instead of writing about the experience, you begin mentally experiencing it. This is something Neville Goddard taught that I have always loved. Don't create an entire movie. Create one short scene as if you've already started living your desired life. 10 to 15 seconds. That's it. Maybe it's driving your new car off the lot. Maybe it's sleeping the first night in your new home. Maybe it's seeing the balance in your bank account. Maybe it's a friend congratulating you on your new job. Maybe it's just sitting on the porch of your dream home drinking your morning coffee. The key is to make the scene short and repeatable. Replay that same scene every morning when you wake up and every night before you fall asleep. The shorter and more specific the scene, the easier it becomes to feel real. And the more real it feels, the easier it becomes to step into that version of yourself. Now here's where most people stop. They write the letter. They visualize the scene. They feel great for a few minutes. Then life catches up. They go right back to being the old version of themselves. And this may be the most important part of the entire process. Instead, ask yourself throughout the day, if this was already true, how would I show up right now? How would I think? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I respond? How would I handle this situation? You don't need to become that person perfectly. You only need to practice becoming them one moment at a time. Because manifestation doesn't begin when the result appears. Manifestation begins the moment you start showing up as the person who already believes it is possible. Sometimes the external results appear quickly. Sometimes they take longer. But the transformation always begins the moment you start becoming that person. That is why I believe becoming is the missing step. Most people think. Many people feel. Very few actually become. And becoming is where your life begins to change. And once you begin practicing becoming that person, there is one more thing that can strengthen the process, because becoming isn't only about your action, it's also about the emotional state you carry throughout the day. Most people become grateful after they receive something. But what if you practice gratitude before it arrived? Not because you're pretending, not because you're denying reality, but because you're emotionally connecting to the future you're creating. Spend a couple minutes every day feeling grateful for the relationship you have, your health, the business, the peace, the abundance. Future gratitude helps move you from wishing to expecting. And expectation is a powerful state. So let's put all of this together. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You don't need to spend hours every day visualizing. You simply need to begin practicing. Choose one exercise. Apply it consistently. And watch what happens when your thoughts, feelings, and actions start moving in the same direction. Write the letter. Create the scene. Practice future gratitude. Or ask yourself throughout the day, if this was already true, how would I show up right now? Then do it. Because manifestation isn't something you think about. It's something you become. Remember, thinking plants the seed. Feeling waters the seed. Becoming is when you start living as the person who receives the harvest, sees the flowers bloom, sees the crops. Stop waiting for permission from your current reality. Start becoming the person you desire to be. And that's the key to not only quantum manifestation, but living your desired life. Now, if these videos are helping you becoming the person you decide to be, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and continue this journey with me. And if you want to go deeper, my Master Your State ebook is linked in the description below.